name is Phillip Martin and the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share and subscribe and ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And if you could really consider hitting the subscribe button or the share button or the like button, that really helps me. YouTube, I am very, very grateful for the platform they give me. And I'm really kind of grateful that it's one of the most, I will say, free speech orientated social media platforms out there. So yeah, but they do favor giant multinational corporations that pay them billions of dollars. So yeah, teeny tiny micro channels dealing with teeny tiny niche subjects like mine don't get that much love. So yeah, if you like this content, or even if you dislike this content, if you could subscribe and hit the like and the share button, that would be fan-dabby double dozy. And you know, do you like free stuff? I like free stuff. I'm giving away free stuff. This week I'm giving away this. It's a weird micro budgeted production, a spin-off Doctor Who called Syl and the Devil Sees Arodor. If you know what that is, if you know what Syl is, you might like it. If you don't know what it is, this one might not be for you. But I'm giving away stuff each week. We've got tons of good stuff to give away. Got Doctor Who Season 3, got a bunch of Doctor Who DVDs, and Blu-rays, and you know, I actually have a spare copy of the book I'm reviewing in this video, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, The Black Dossier. So I might give that. You know, when maybe I get up to do my review of Tempest, I might give that away. So this is the book. This is the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I was going to say that split fandom, but it really didn't. Fandom really didn't like it much. You know, this is not one that was widely well received. But you know who did like it? There's two people I can tell who really enjoyed it, and that's Alan Moore and Kev O'Neill, who wrote it. So yeah, there was an idea when Alan Moore wrote, what's his book, Voice of the Fire, which I never read because I'm not clever enough. And you know, I tried to read so many times. I even bought a book on tape. That giant book he put out recently, Jerusalem, put out a year or two ago. I haven't been able to get through it at all because I am a dummy. And the reason that Voice of the Fire was written in this very bizarre prose is, in Alan Moore's words, to keep out the plebs. I'm one of the plebs, so he kept me out, and you can see him going into this. Going in this direction with this League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You know, it's designed to keep out the plebs. But here's what I worked out about it: that it takes a lot of work. This is a book that's not an easy read. It takes a lot of work, and actually, I would really wish there was a fully annotated version with it, like going through each page, you know, at the back, so I knew who else I got all the references. I knew who everybody else. But the more work you put into this volume, the more you enjoy it. And also, if you're doing a reread of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, as I am, it makes everything, like, this volume is the key to everything that shows you what the world is, what the universe is that Alan Moore's dealing with. And a lot of stuff, like I'm reading Tempest at the same time, the final volume, makes a lot more sense now. I'm refreshing my memory with this. Fine, so let's get into it. This starts off, Mina Harker, Mina Murray. Okay, let's call her Mina Murray. Yeah. She's blonde and she's in a pub. She's in a British bar, and she's getting picked up by James Bond, Jimmy Bond, very much based on the novel version of James Bond rather than the movies. This is the late 50s, and we get a bit of world building going on here. We see that since the last time we saw the League was 1898, 1897. And so we get little dribs and drabs. We know that Big Brother had reigned supreme in England as a totalitarian regime. I'm guessing that'll be in 1948 for several years. And he was eventually, basically him being deposed was a lot of what the background information of this book was about. But what this really does, again, it shows you the universe that Moore was creating. Of how you put all these different pieces of fiction together and have them sit together. Anyway, so the story starts off that Mina Murray is blonde and she's in a pub and she's being picked up by James Bond. This was all a ruse to get James Bond to take her to their Vauxhall secret agent headquarters that they used, again, 50, 60 years ago when they were the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and to gain entrance into there. She's joined by a youthful Alan Quatermain who has gone through the pool of, what's it called again? from She Who Must Be Obeyed, the pool you go in that regenerates you somewhere out in Africa, I guess. I can't remember where it's supposed to be. I guess I come across it when I read Century. I think they end up there in Century, don't they? Again, I'm glad I'm rereading it. So the whole point of them going there is to steal this black dossier. The stuff with James Bond is kind of fun. You get. I like the way that Alan Moore extrapolates from reads between the lines of the page, so you get an idea of makes the character a little bit more three-dimensional and quite how vile and repulsive he is. But Mina gets the upper hand. She knocks out one of his teeth and has him handcuffed and humiliated and locked out and knocked out in the League's former secret hideout, to be discovered later by M. So then we get into the first section of Black Dossier. So this is bits that I didn't read fully. Some bits I didn't read at all. I skimmed, but it was very dense stuff. I might actually go back and read it. Especially there's a folio by Shakespeare. Let me look through it as I say, which I think is I think if you read it, you'll probably get a lot more insight into what the hell's going on. They do a stuff called Life of Orlando, which introduces the new character Orlando, which again I should do a bit more reading on to find out what the hell this is. Fine, and then they got little cute little bits from the world of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. They got a little pastiche on Jane, the semi pornographic comic strips from the 1950s, and then they have a fake Shakespearean folio, and then the New Adventures of Fanny Hill. Again, thoroughly filthy historical literature pastiche, and then you're back into the story. So Bond is discovered by M. M is now moving into the use of the word mother, which ties it into the Avengers. And M is hinted to be Harry Lime. This is the first place where I'm lost, because Harry Lime is from the Third Man. I've never seen the Third Man, so I really don't know what's going on with that. But he's a major character in Tempest, so I should really watch the Third Man. See, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of work to put in there, but I think if you put the work in, you actually get it out. You get more out of it. So the chase is on. So they have M teams up Bond, much to his dismay, with Emma Peel. It's called Miss Knight. I worked out pretty early on that was Emma Peel. Thank God there are websites you can go to explain everything that's going on. Now, a lot of you may say, listen, if I've got to have all these explanations about what's going on in comics, I'm really not that interested. And that's a fair criticism. But again, I just feel this is kind of more of a academic tone in a friendly way of Alan Moore trying to impart some of his immense and great wisdom to us. And I think he is immensely wise. I really genuinely do. So he's teamed up with Emma Peel and her I can't remember the relation. Was it Bulldog Drummond? Was it Harry Drummond? And I love all the casual British racism from the 50s. Don't get him started talking about Jews, stuff like. And I just find that stuff funny. So they send them on a false trail. While they say they're going north, but they actually go south, and they end up by Billy Bunter. Billy Bunter. I love it when I come across somebody I actually recognise. Billy Bunter was a schoolboy, like a fat schoolboy. They did a TV show of it in the 60s. I think in the 60s. And now this is like a very aged Billy Bunter, and the conceit is that the entirety of the British, the higher ups of the hierarchy of the British spy infrastructure all came from the public school that Billy Bunter lived. Billy Bunter's now very old, and he gives Murray and Quatermain clues, and they head off again. And then we get into another section of Black Dossier stuff, which is, let me just go through it. We get like postcards which fill in that what's his name, Alan Quatermain has gone to the Fountain of Youth. There you go, gone to the Fountain of Youth. We have a text story of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I think we see something about a later team, a 1940s team, or is that in a later section? Yeah, we get to see something about a German team, which is with the German team is really cool. But you see them much more in one of the Nemo books, which is again. This book really kind of like fills in a lot. Is the connective tissue between all the rest of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Then there's I didn't even realize that there's a Jeeves and Worcester pastiche, which that one I will read because I love Jeeves and Worcester. Fine. So then after that we have Billy Bunt is revealed to be a duplicitous double agent, and he reports back to M where Murray and Quatermain are heading. They're heading to a spaceport, and they basically end up in Jerry Anderson land. They end up in one of the what was it? Not Firebirds. I'm thinking of Thunderbirds. Fireballs. Fireball XL. They end up in a Fireball XL4 after they get caught in the spaceport, and there's a chase, and they take off, and then we get a whole nother section of dense Black Dossier stuff. And again, if you're clever enough to be able to get through it, I think it's extremely rewarding. But I'm not that clever. I don't think most comic book readers are, which I think is what. Yeah, the trouble with Alan Moore, he's really just he's evolved beyond the being able to service lowbrow comic book nerds such as myself. There's a little stuff about a post wartime league, and there's a pastiche of looks like a semi pornographic novel. Okay, fine, and some more stuff. Which again, all the stuff I just browsed, and then finally we get to the denouement where the fireball crashes. They parachute out. So now it gets into a very like Hitchcockian. Hitchcockian, is that a word? I think so. Hitchcockian film. It feels like North by Northwest. As the trio of spies, Emma Peel, Hugo Drummond, and James Bond chase after Quatermain and Murray, and they finally escape with a gollywog. That's where it goes weird. Okay, at the end of the book it took me like a good. I had to sit down 2 or 3 times to read it because it's so incredibly dense. And you know what? I have a feeling that Moore's creating his afterlife. This is where Alan Moore's going to go when he dies, because it takes a realm where all the boundaries between fictions have been removed, and so and they all live together as one like Gestalt entity, and they're led by Prospero from Shakespeare's The Tempest, which is why I think the Shakespearean portfolio is so important, and I really got to read it. But the and Prospero is like, it seems to be the leader of this realm, and this is where Quatermain and Murray have been living for the last seems quite a long time. I like the whole idea that time and space is different there, and then it gets into this brilliant bit where you go into 3D. It comes with these like 3D specs you put on, and you look ridiculous wearing them. Here, allow me to demonstrate, and it makes it very, very hard to read the pages. You know, you've got to get a lot of light to read them. But it gives you this fantastic. Here we go. It gives you this like fantastic extra dimensionality, which I really, really liked, and I thought was really clever. At the end, listen, the whole book is very interesting, very clever. I think the more you read into it, the more work you put into this volume, the more you get out of it. But this is really what Alan Moore's work is like from here on in. You know, they're extremely dense, extremely clever, and you've got to do a lot of work to keep up. I don't think he's working to try and show off that he's very clever. He just is very, very clever, and he's got a lot more clever as time has gone. So by the time he wrote this, you know, again, he's not the same Alan Moore that wrote Miracle Man or V for Vendetta. You know, he was a very highbrow person then. Now he's like super highbrow. So really, again, it depends what you want out of a reading experience. This is not a sit down comfortable by the fire and have a nice relaxing read. This is hard work. But I think probably rewarding hard work. So there you go. That's my thoughts on League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, The Black Dossier. What did you think? Did you enjoy it? Did you get through it? Did you read the sections that I skimmed over and I skipped? And I read all the comic book sections, but did you read the folio section? You know what? Now I'm doing this review, I realize I just got to go back and just try and break my teeth and go through them, because I'm sure I'm going to get a lot out of it. I remember once, actually, in the Alan Moore did this magazine. What's it called again? But in the Christmas issue, he wrote a short story, like a little horror short story, like an M.R. James one, but set in a very contemporary day. Fan-freaking-tastic. I love. That was so rewarding that I sat down to read it. So I think if I sit down to read more of this, it will be equally rewarding. My name is Phillip Martin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, subscribe, ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop, and let me know what you think, and have yourself a fantastic day.